All right, so we are back, and in the previous video, we were working inside of our tracker blueprint. So again, inside of our blueprints folder, our tracker blueprint, we set up all the script that we will need on the event graph for our tracker system. Up next, we're going to create all the functions that will be crucial to making sure that our system works as we expect, and then we'll be able to test. Towards the end of this video, we'll be able to populate our little track here with a bunch of checkpoints and apply our system. And fingers crossed, everything should work nice and dandy for us right at the end here. So let's continue inside of the tracker. So blueprints folder, let's go ahead and double click and open up our tracker. Let's start off with the update times function. So go ahead and double click and open that up. And what this is going to do for us is basically pass over all of these variables here that we have that the user can specify. It's going to pass these over to our player controller blueprint. So our my player controller blueprint. And again, on the event graph, we are calling that upon event begin play. So we're calling event begin play, apply settings. Apply settings is going to pass over the maps, and then it's going to call this function, the update times function. So let's go ahead and create that now. So here's our update times. All we're going to do for this, we're going to scroll down and grab our controller reference. I'm going to control and drag that into the graph. And what we're going to do for this is drag off the controller reference and say set gold time. So we're going to start off by setting the gold time, which is a variable that we created. We're going to do that for all of these actually. So we're going to set silver time like so. Then we're also going to set bronze time like so. And two more. We're going to set the default best lap time. Set the default best lap time. And finally, set default best race time. So we have all these variables inside of our player controller blueprint that we want to set to equal our custom settings here. So let's go ahead and just hook those up. All we're going to do is take our gold time, left click and drag and drop that on like so. We'll take our silver, left click and drag and drop it on like so. Same with the bronze and the default best lap and the default best time like so. And that's it. That's all we're going to do for this update times function. So let's connect these all up now. Something like so. It's a little bit wonky, but should be good enough for us. So let's go ahead and hook all of these up like so. Let's add a comment around all of these. So we're going to hit C and say pass user. We're going to pass the user settings to player. Well, let's not say settings. Let's say times because we're only passing times over here. So pass user times to my player controller times. And I don't want to say timers, but I think that's good. You can add any comment that you want. But that's essentially what this is going to do is pass the user times over to the my player controller times. And that's it. That's all we need to do for that function. So let's hop down to the lap check function. This one's a little bit more intricate, so let's go ahead and do that. Open that up just by double clicking on it. And for the lap check, what we are going to do now is whenever we clear a checkpoint, we want to check and see is that value equal to the total checkpoints that we have in our level. So we passed through a checkpoint. Is the checkpoint that we cleared equal to the total number of checkpoints that we have? If it is, that means we've completed a lap. At which point we would need to check, well, we've completed a lap. Is the race complete? Which we'll set up that function here in a moment. If the race is not complete, then we need to set our next checkpoint to activate back to 0, so the first checkpoint. And then if we go through this lap check here and the checkpoint that we crossed is not the final checkpoint, so it's checkpoint 3 of, say, 12, we would need to activate the next checkpoint in sequence. So that's what we're going to do in this script here. So first thing that we're going to do is, let me drag this down just a little bit and collapse our custom settings. What we like to do in these instances, rather than drag our checkpoint value all across our graph here, we're going to promote this to a local variable. So we're going to hop down to the My Blueprint panel, and there's a section called Local Variables. I'm going to add a new local variable. So go ahead and add a local variable, and we're just going to call this the local checkpoint. And this local variable is only going to be self-contained within this function. It can't be accessed or modified externally of this function. It's only going to reside in here, which is perfectly fine for us. So I'm going to left click and drag this and drop it on top like so. So whatever checkpoint comes in as part of this function is going to get assigned to this local checkpoint. Now we can just use this variable anywhere in our graph without having wires all over the place. Just makes things nice and easier, nice and neat. So first thing we want to do when we come through this function is find out if this checkpoint that we have crossed is equal to the total number of checkpoints that we have. So let's take our total checkpoints in the My Blueprint panel, hold Control and left click and drag it in. And we're going to drag off this local checkpoint that we just created and assigned, and we're going to hit an equal sign. So equal is equal integer is what we want. And is it equal to total checkpoints? That's all we're asking. So we're going to hold B and left click to create a branch. We're going to connect our set to our branch like so, and our condition like so. So we have our true or false statement here. If it is true, we have completed a lap. We'll come back to that in a moment. We'll start out with the false because it's going to be a little bit easier to do that. So we have determined we've crossed our checkpoint. We need to get up the next checkpoint in our sequence. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's go over to the My Blueprint panel. We're going to take our checkpoints here. Going to hold Control and drag that into the graph. We're now going to drag off of it, and we're going to perform a get because we need to get our next checkpoint. So let's go ahead and grab that. And our next checkpoint is going to be the local checkpoint. So let's go ahead and let's grab our local checkpoint. Left click and drag that in. Like so. If you recall back on the event graph, just to illustrate this again really quickly, down here, whenever we clear a checkpoint, we're passing through the next checkpoint to our lap check function. So whatever the next checkpoint is getting passed to this essentially. So is the next checkpoint the item that we want to use next? So with that, let's continue now. Let's actually drag our activate checkpoint in. So let's left click and drag that into the graph, like so. And let's drag off the false and connect that up. And the next checkpoint that we want to activate is going to be right here. So let's plug that in. So that is set up and good to go. The other thing that we need to do, once we've cleared a checkpoint, and this is kind of stepping a little bit ahead a little bit, but let's go ahead and get it out of the way. What we need to determine is once we've crossed a checkpoint, we want to get the location of that previous checkpoint that we just crossed so that we could spawn the player back there if they flip their car over. So let's go ahead and do that. And what we're going to do for this is let's actually take this section here. So I'm going to drag a selection box around on those, hit Control C and Control V to paste it over here. And what we want to do is let's actually Alt left click and delete the connection there for our local checkpoint. All we're going to do is drag off of this local checkpoint and hit a minus sign. So integer minus integer. This will give us the previous checkpoint. So we've crossed it. We hit a minus sign. Don't give us the next one. Give us the previous one by subtracting 1. And now we can connect the out here into the get. That'll get us the previous checkpoint. So that will spawn us at the previous checkpoint. Once we have the previous checkpoint, we can drag off that checkpoint and we could say get actor transform. So get actor transform, so get the location of that previous checkpoint. And if we take our controller reference, so our my player controller reference, hold Control and drag that in, we created a variable inside of our my player controller called respawn location. So we want to set respawn location now. And we are setting that to equal the location of our previous checkpoint. So go ahead and plug that in like so. And let's take our activate checkpoint now and plug that into our set like so. I'm just going to try and move these around a little bit to make it a little bit cleaner. Something like this. Well, actually, let's leave it there. That's fine because we're going to have to come back to this in a moment. So we have the false aspect set up. Start working on the true aspect. So we've come through and we've determined that we have crossed the final checkpoint. What do we do? First thing that we're going to do is run a check to see if the race is complete. So we've created a function to handle that for us. So we're going to drag that function in, Left click and drag it in. That's the first thing that we're going to do. So let's connect that. And we're going to need to create a branch. So let's left click or hold B and left click to create a branch. Connect our condition up like so. And connect this up like so. So once we've gone through the process of checking to determine if our race is complete, if it is, we're not really going to do too much. If it isn't, we need to go back to the first checkpoint in our system. So to do that, let's take our little script here, hold Control C, Control V to paste it, and let's delete this local checkpoint because we want to get the first checkpoint, so checkpoint 0. And once we have the first checkpoint, all we're going to do is take our activate checkpoint here, click and drag that in, and we're going to activate the first checkpoint, like so. So let's drag off the false and connect it like so. And once we've gone through the process, we've completed all the checkpoints, we're reactivating the first checkpoint. The next thing that we're going to need to do is update our laps. And our laps are currently inside of our player controller blueprint. So let's take our controller reference here. I'm going to hit Control C and Control V and paste it up here. There's a function inside of our player controller blueprint that we created called update lap. So let's drag off of our player controller and let's say update lap. So we're going to call that function to update our lap at this point, like so. And once we've updated our lap, we're still going to need to get the location of our previous checkpoint so that we can respawn the player there in case they flipped. So I'm going to connect this like so and just move it down a little bit, something like that. Trying to keep it nice and neat, something like that. So there we go. So we've come through, we've determined that the race isn't complete. We're activating the first checkpoint. We're saying update the laps inside of our player controller blueprint. And then we are setting a respawn location to the previous checkpoint that we completed in case the player flips. So all we need to do now to finish off this script is if the player has come through and we've determined that the race is complete, we still want to update our lap so that it shows the correct number of laps that we finished our laps. It can also respawn or set the respawn location. It's not really going to matter because we're going to reset anyway. But that's all we need to do for our script. That is it. So let's go ahead and add a comment around all of this. So I'm going to hit C to create a comment. And we're just going to say lap, not two P's in lap. Don't think so. Lap check script and checks to see if we've completed the race, a lap, or Q, no, let's not say Q, or sets up the next checkpoint. Does some other stuff, but I think this is a good enough comment. So let's compile, save. Got 2 more to do. The next 2 are pretty easy, especially this one. So let's go down to the activate checkpoint in my blueprint panel. All we need to do to activate a checkpoint is we have the checkpoint that we need to activate. All we need to do is drag off of this and get trigger. So if I scroll all the way down to the bottom, we created that trigger inside of our checkpoint. So again, here's our checkpoint. Here's our trigger that we are overlapping. So all we're going to do is get that trigger now, and we want to set hidden in game. So we are now going to make it visible because we're going to leave the new hidden unchecked. So this will essentially activate that checkpoint for us. So we're connecting this up here to make sure that we get the function call. We're also going to drag off of next checkpoint, and we're going to get our particle system. So get our particle system, even though we haven't assigned one yet. Let's get it, and let's set it to not hidden as well, like so that when we do hook it up, it just works for us. Last thing we need to do for this script is drag off the trigger now. So dragging off of our trigger right here. And we need to set generate overlap events. So we need to set this now because by default it is off. So we're going to set it to true. Let's connect this up and set that to true. So we are now saying make the next checkpoint visible, make sure that we can overlap it, and that's all we need to do. So I'll add a quick comment around this, hit C and say this will activate the next checkpoint. It's pretty self-explanatory, so that's all we need to do. So we are 15 minutes in. We got one more function to do, and then we can test our system out. Let's go to the race complete check here. And what we're going to do for this is, let's space these out a little bit. We need to check inside of our player controller blueprint where our actual laps are stored. The actual lap that we're on is stored. And we need to get that and compare that against the max laps. So have we essentially reached the maximum number of laps when we do this race complete check here? So for this, what we'll do, we'll hold Control and drag in our controller reference. And from it, we're going to get actual lap that we're on. So get actual lap. We're also going to drag off of this and say get max lap. So get our max laps. So for both of these, all we're going to say is actual lap greater than or equal to? Is that value greater than or equal to max laps? Like so. So let's hold B and left click, create a branch, connect up the condition, and connect up the executable, like so. Let's move these over just a little bit. So if we have determined that, yes, it is, this value, our actual lap is equal to or greater than max lap somehow, what we're going to do, take our controller reference, Control C, Control V to paste it. We're then going to drag off of it and set race complete. So this is the variable called race complete. And off the true, let's connect it up like so. And we're going to make sure that it is set to true. Now I'm also going to select this, hit Control C and Control V, and going to drag the false and plug it in, uncheck the checkbox, and reconnect our target like so. Now there's something that we need to do here. On our return node, we have a Boolean output called race complete. Now we can't necessarily take the value and plug it directly in here because it's asking for a yes or no, which this is telling us yes or no. However, we can't plug this one in as well. So what we need to do, let's right click and break that. We're going to have to use our local variable friend here. So let's create a local variable of the Boolean type called local complete. We're going to change it to a Boolean down here in the details panel. So we're going to hold Alt and drag that into the graph. We're going to connect it up and connect it like so. Going to copy it, Control C, Control V, and connect it up like so. Now either value is setting our local variable here. Now what we can do is just left click and drag and drop that directly on like so. So with all of that, there will be some additional script that we'll set up in here a little bit later, but for now, I think this is good. Let's go ahead and connect up our executable outs like so. And let's add a quick comment around these and say race complete check sets race complete in my player controller. So all of that is done. Let's compile and save, and let's get to the good stuff. Let's actually test out our system. Our tracker is 99.9% complete. So let's go to our level now that we've saved it. And what we need to do inside of our level here, we have our tracker in the level. Make sure that you've added the tracker to the level. We have all of our settings here. We have max laps. We have all of our values. Let's start adding some checkpoints now. So we've got our first checkpoint here. If I could select it. So there's our first checkpoint. I'm just going to hold Alt on my keyboard, left click, and drag out a copy. I'm going to place one down at the end here, somewhere around the end, like on this bank, somewhere down here, like so. Let's add some more. I'm going to hold Alt, and drag out a copy over here, and I'm going to move it towards the center, like so. And I'm going to fly in a little bit, going to hit E on our keyboard because our arrow is currently facing that way. I'm going to hit E, rotate our arrow 90 degrees like so. I'm going to hit W and move it up into the air, something like this. Kind of line it up with our jump here so that we have to fly off the jump and through it. That's kind of cool. The next one I'm going to do, I'm going to hold Alt, drag out a copy, somewhere down here towards the end, right before the bank. Drop it down. and just move it around. Something like this. Let's hold Alt. Well, you know what? Let's actually, if you haven't used this before, I'm going to hold Control and hit the tilde key. That's going to give us local space. So I can hold Alt. And actually, you know what? I'm not going to do that just yet. I thought that was going to work there, but it didn't. Of course, it's not going to work while I'm trying to do the video. So let's actually move this over. Control tilde now. Nope. Not working. E. Nope. All right. So we'll just do this manually. Let's just move it over. Hit E. Rotate around. Like so. Hit W. Oh, now I'm in it. It's because it wasn't on an angle. That's why. So if I rotate our little checkpoint here, if I hit the W key and I hit Control and tilde, you'll see how our icon kind of changes here. This is letting us know that we are transitioning between world space and local space. So up here you have the icon. It lets you know what we are doing. So world space, I can move it if I go to world space. So I'm moving along the Y now. Suppose I wanted to move it in this direction. I can hit Control and tilde. Now you see how my cursor changes, so I can move it in that direction now. So that's what we were doing. Tried to kind of showcase that here, but I failed miserably. But that's what we were trying to do. So I'm going to move it up to somewhere around here. I'm going to hit E and rotate it a little bit. So it's right here, like so. I'm going to hold Alt and drag out a copy to this side. I'm going to hit E and rotate it around so that it is facing that way. Hit W and kind of just line it up like so. Again, I'm kind of just arbitrarily placing these. You can feel free to place as many as you want, wherever you want. Let's hit E and rotate this one around so that it's facing in this direction. Hit W, move it over. So this one's off the jump here, like so. Something like that. I'm going to hit Alt, drag out a copy, put this one here, hit E and rotate it, like so, W. Just kind of line it up. Something like that. That's good. Good enough. Let's do a couple more. We're almost done. W, move this up. Do one at the base of the jump here. We're also going to do one directly across from it, so that you have to hit it on the way down. And hold Alt, drag one way up here. And then we're going to add one more. Let's drag one more. And we're going to put this one right behind our player start. So this one is going to be directly behind our player start. So that will signify that we've completed a lap. So there we go. We have checkpoints all around our level here. The final thing that we need to do before we test, very important, let's select our tracker. We need to add all of those checkpoints now to our checkpoint array here. So we only have the one currently. So what I'm going to do is go up to the world outliner up here. So I'm going to search for checkpoint. There's all of our checkpoints in order there. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So we have 12 checkpoints. We need 12 elements here. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And now we can specify the order in which those checkpoints should appear. Fortunately, it's going to be pretty easy because we rename these, so they're all in sequential order. So let's just go ahead and down the list. Just going to be checkpoint 2, checkpoint 3, checkpoint 4, checkpoint 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. So it should look like this down the list. And with all of that, we are ready to test. We should be able to now, when we play in the game, see only our first checkpoint. When we clear it, the next one will get queued up and played for us or spawned in for us. The previous one will get removed. We can actually go all the way around our race. When we get to this last checkpoint here, this one should respawn again for us, and we should be able to drive around. So let's test this out. I'm going to hit play in the editor. There's our first checkpoint. I drive towards it. Next one gets queued up, just as we expected, and our system is working. So we've done a lot over the last couple of videos. We've set up our checkpoint system. It is keeping track of all of our checkpoints. Did I not go through that one? I did, didn't I? Did I add one there? Oh, I must have already went through it. So we've added all of our checkpoints. I'm going to crash right there, of course. Oh, perfect time to flip over. Look at that. So I flipped over. We haven't hooked up respawning yet, so we can't actually respawn yet. But if we had hooked that system up, we would respawn at the previous checkpoint because we've assigned it. But we're going to do that in a couple of videos later. But our system is working. Feel free to test it out. You should be able to drive all the way around and see all of your checkpoints updating. That's actually going to do it for this video. We're going to pause here. In the next video, we will start working on our lap tracker, so keeping track of all of our laps and displaying that through debug code for now, as well as setting up our respawning, because we're going to need that, because I just flipped over and I couldn't respawn, and that's not cool. So we'll set that up in the next video as well. So that's going to do it. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll pick it back up in the next video.